Now, the two of the leading fabless chipset makers for smartphones, Qualcomm and MediaTek, they just recently unveiled their latest flagship chipset platforms for smartphones. While we have not yet seen smartphones being powered by these, but there are already announcements made. And when one is just looking at the kind of features these two chipset platforms are capable of offering and the kind of power they are equipped with, very honestly, I think these chipsets can now help OEMs to make super smartphones and not just smartphones. So very much similar to how we have supercomputers in terms of computing. I think the smartphones that will be powered using these kind of chipsets, they will be nothing less than super smartphones. But a fundamental question still remains here, which is that while chipset makers have done their best and have been doing wonderful, all these years in terms of enhancing the efficiency and reducing the power consumption of chipset platforms, allowing smartphone makers to really go limitless at times. While OEMs have been reciprocating this endeavor of chipset makers, and they have also tried to make the best of chipset and at the same time make the best of their UI and software experiences. They have really worked hard around tuning their devices for very smooth and faster experiences. But still, once you start comparing it with iPhone experience, you find that you don't really feel that there is any smartphone from the Android ecosystem which is capable of delivering equitable experiences as that of iPhone. So which is the weakest link here? As I said, the chipset makers are doing great. The OEMs have also honestly done pretty well all these years. It looks like the fault lies with one common thing, which is the OS, and that is Android. So I believe that Google has to really look at this, that how are they shaping Android in reference to iOS. Very, very important for Google to look at this and probably do away with their routine roadmap where every year they make a new release and it is maybe some enhancements out there, but honestly nothing substantial where we could say that yes, the OS is now capable of offering very equitable experiences as that is being offered by iOS for iPhones. That is something Google needs to really think about. I think they will have to start thinking of next generation Android OS, which of course starts at a different pedestal. And it's not important only for OEMs. It is important for, I think, more important for Google to look at Android, because if this trend continues, that we have to understand how the consumer journey is moving. Consumers in India and across in many parts of the world have been now using smartphones for more than a decade, and over the years they have been upgrading, stepping up to the next segments, and today a very wide base of consumers across the world, especially in countries like India, is ready as a feeder base to premium segments, where now consumers are increasingly spending, say, more than 50,000-60,000 rupees to buy a smartphone. And that's where the problem starts. Once the consumer is ready to spend this much on a smartphone, the obvious choice right now is more tilted towards iPhone, because consumers are really getting that kind of experiences, leave aside the brand value and other emotional things out there. But if we look at even from the product quality point of view, there is definite merit in considering iPhone if you are spending that much of money. So this is resulting not only a difficult situation for OEMs who are trying to grab a pie of this segment, but it is also, eventually going to make Google lose their customer base of smartphones, which is not good for them in any case, because Google is also pushing AI. It has Gemini as its platform. And, we know that for more than 80-90% of the users, the primary and the only device of compute is smartphone. So if Google is not able to, create and withhold a good substantial base of smartphone users, it will not be able to push ahead its AI platform. That's a challenge for them even on the Gemini side. So, and look at, if we look at, for instance, OEMs have done a great job all these years. These all OEMs were known for their hardware centricity and hardware orientation. And in these years, all of them have, honestly done a phenomenal job with their UIs. Today, if you look at One UI of Samsung, or you look at, for instance, HyperOS of Xiaomi, you look at Oxygen OS of OnePlus, and now we are going to see Origin OS by Vivo. All of these OSs have done tremendous improvement over these years. If you just recall how these UIs used to behave maybe 5 years, 10 years back, today you find a fundamental change in their experiences. So I fail to understand that while these OEMs, which were hardware centric, have phenomenally, leveled up their software experiences in these years, especially past 5 years, why is Google still lacking there and lagging there, that they have not been able to elevate the Android experiences substantially? I think OEMs need to ask this question to Google, and Google owes an explanation to all the OEMs that why they have not been able to create that kind of experiences. Because eventually, what will happen if Google fails to really now deliver to the level, to the expectations of OEMs as well as consumers, especially in the premium tiers? OEMs have no other option but to maybe go for their own OSs, okay, or maybe form a consortium and look for, okay, how can we build our own OS out there? It's something for Google to look at how they're going to do it. Maybe they can, even think of coming up with a premium OS, which is not available, say, on under the free licenses or open source licenses. It could be a premium OS which is available only to a class of OEMs, or only available for phones beyond a certain price point, where they charge money from OEMs for every license, but they also deliver the kind of experiences that OEMs are looking for. That's a very critical part for Google going forward, for the I would say Android as a platform, and for OEMs to really conquer and win this premium space. This is what I had to share in my Tech Byte today. I'll be again with you in my next episode. Till then, enjoy tech.